Christmas Eve, 2002. Ernie Wholaver murdered his wife and 2 daughters. The murders were terrifying, but even more terrifying was the reason behind the murders. This is his story.
Bags are packed, are you ready to go? This time tomorrow we'll be on the road, riding with you in the sunnier days. I wouldn't want it any other way.
Middletown, Pennsylvania, lies just outside of Harrisburg. It's the oldest town in Dauphin County and also the setting for one of the most horrific crimes Pennsylvania has ever seen. Ernie and Jean Wholaver separated in the summer of 2002 amidst allegations that he was molesting their daughter Victoria. Victoria kept this horrible secret for years, under the agreement that he would not touch her sister Izzy. When she found that he was indeed molesting Izzy, she told her mother a PFA was filed and Ernie Wholaver was asked to leave the home. Christmas Eve 2002. Jean, her daughters and granddaughter were keeping Christmas tradition alive. They would drive 2.5 hours to Johnstown, Cambria County, to spend Christmas Eve and Christmas Day with Jean's mother and father. When they hadn't arrived by dinner time on Christmas Eve, Jean's mother became worried. She tried to find out if there had been an accident and finally called Middletown Police Department and was asked to call back the next day. At 6 o'clock in the morning on Christmas Day, still frantic, Jean's mother contacted Middletown Police Department once again. This time they sent an officer out to do a welfare check. At 7 a.m., the officer arrives at the home. He tries knocking on the door and ringing the doorbell, but there's no answer. He walks around the back of the house to look in the windows and notices that the glass panes in the garage door have been broken out. He attempts to lift the garage door and found that it lifted easily, and also noticed that the family's car was still in the garage. The officer enters the family home through the garage door, calling out. He walks down the hallway toward the kitchen when he spots a female body lying in the middle of the floor. She's cold to the touch. The officer calls for backup and secures the scene. When homicide detectives arrive, they clear the bottom floor and are ready to head upstairs when they hear a noise coming from the second floor. With guns drawn, the detectives walk up the stairs. Lying in the hallway upstairs is another deceased female, with a baby lying in the crook of her arm. Officers find a third body, lying across the bed in a back bedroom. One officer was sent back downstairs with the infant to await the ambulance. Police theorized the time of the crime to be approximately 4 a.m. They believed that Jean was fixing her morning coffee when someone snuck up behind her and fired one shot into the back of her head. Victoria was next. She was shot in the top of the head, and police theorized that this was due to her crouching over to protect her baby. Izzy was found lying across her bed with a single gunshot wound to her left eye. The shot was up close, and there were burn marks around her eye. Police believe that she grabbed the barrel of the gun when it was fired due to burn marks on her hands. Izzy attempted to fight back. The investigators had found a group of wires at the back of the house had been cut, presumably so no one could call for help. Investigators also found that Ernie Wholaver's trial regarding the sexual molestation of his children was to be held in January 2003. They drove 2.5 hours to Johnstown, Cambria County to speak with Wholaver, who had been living with his parents since the PFA was filed. Wholaver was brought to the police station by his brother Scott. Wholaver stated that he had heard about the murder from family members and stated he did have an alibi. He and his brother Scott had been out spotting deer and coyote from 2 a.m. until 9:10 a.m. Scott backed up this story. The father of Victoria's child and her current boyfriend were both questioned as well, and both had solid alibis. Police obtained a search warrant for Scott Wholaver's home and vehicle. In his vehicle, they found a notebook, and on a page in Scott's handwriting stated, "We were out spotting deer and coyotes." After the note was found, Ernie asserted his right to remain silent when questioned again by police. Scott, his brother, kept to the rehearsed alibi. But after being shown crime scene photos of his sister-in-law and nieces, he broke down and confessed to what he knew. Scott stated they were out drinking when he agreed to take Ernest to Middletown to get his dog, even though he knew he was not supposed to be anywhere near Middletown. They arrived close to 4 a.m., and Ernest told him to park down the block and remain in the car. He retrieved items from the back seat and took off toward the house. Per Scott, Ernie returned about 10 minutes later and told Scott to drive them back to Cambria County, but not to their parents' home. He was in an agitated state and stated that he wanted to go to the woods. When they got to the woods, Ernest left the car, walked into the woods with a pistol and shotgun, and did not return with either gun. State police searched every inch of the woods and were just about to call off the search when an officer found the pistol. When police ran the serial number, they found that the gun belonged to Ernest Wholaver's uncle, and ballistic testing also showed this was the murder weapon. Ernest Wholaver is charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder. The state was seeking the death penalty. Scott Wholaver was charged as an accomplice. In a plea deal, he agreed to plead guilty to 3 counts of third-degree murder and 12 to 25 years before he becomes eligible for parole. In a bizarre footnote to this case, Ernie Wholaver attempted to hire a hitman while he was incarcerated. He wanted Frankie Ramos killed. Frankie is the father of Victoria's baby. He wanted it to look like a suicide and have a note stating that he was the real killer of Jean, Victoria, and Izzy. The prisoner told the authorities, and they were able to get a DEA agent to pose as a hitman. Unfortunately, as Victoria and Izzy were both deceased, the sexual abuse was not able to be entered into testimony. But Ernie Wholaver was found guilty, and he currently sits on death row at SCI Green.